Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Back up at the workshop for the first time this year, and I've just done a bit of a tidy up, and now I'm back on the brakes for the Porsche. So what I have to do is I have to remove these feed lines which are corroded in there. I found that out when I did this one. You can see, I don't know if you can see, it sort of stripped the top half of that thread in there, which is very frustrating. So I might have to helicoil that. I'll retap it and then see. But this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up and I'm going to see if I can get that out. Otherwise, I've taken the pistons, or a couple of the pistons, out of this one here, and they seem okay. What I will do is rub down, clean up the top surfaces and maybe paint them with a heat-resistant paint. But I will probably reuse the seals in here because they're absolutely fine. No point changing something if it doesn't need doing. However, in this one, sorry, the lighting is very bad. In this one, they've been damaged in there, you can see, by somebody other than me, who's tried to, I don't know, get these vibration plates out from the pistons, because you can see the pistons have a cavity in them. And it's these brackets, which I think they're for vibration on the front calipers. They fit into those pistons very snugly. So if they've been left there for years, then they ain't coming out. So the way I got these ones out is to heat these up gently, obviously, and then slide them out. So I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. Okay, so I also used a Dremel to tidy that up a little bit to try and get all the crud out. And there was quite a bit of, you know, corrosion there between the aluminium caliper and the steel nipple there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up gently. So basically what I mean by that is I'm just going to aim the flame sort of past the caliper and onto the nipple there, and then tighten it up a tad before I try and undo it. Okay, so I've got the caliper in the vise. I've just protected the face of the caliper with a piece of wood, although I'm wondering whether I actually repaint them. I'll have to repaint parts of them, definitely, but I don't know if I do a full refurbishment on them or not. But anyway, I'm going to heat it up gently. I've got my number 10 ring spanner there, and I'm going to go just try and ease that out. Okay, so that's going now. I've just wobbled it backwards and forth. I've also got water on there. I guess you could use oil, but just I've doused it in water just in the hope that the metal would then contract and then break away from the aluminium housing. But that's coming out now, so let's have a look. Okay, so looking at this for the first time through the camera is a bit difficult, but let me have a look over the camera. I can see a thread there. But I'm sure it'll need to be retapped. Oh, I can't get any kind of focus on here. I'll clean that out and see what kind of a thread is left. Okay, so I just gave that nipple a clean up and ran it back into that thread very gently, obviously, and that looks fine. So I'm very pleased with that. I've managed to save one of them so far. The other one, as I say, on the other caliper, which is over there, didn't go quite so well. So as I say, maybe helicoil or retap. But anyway, what I have to do is I have to go through all of them because the bleed nipples are solid as well. So that is literally 3 on every caliper. One's gone well, one hasn't. So just removing the nipple caps, or the rubber caps off these bleeder valves. You can see how crusty they are under there. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go around with the Dremel one more time and heat them up and remove them. But before I do that, I'm going to put the air gun on here to try and get the pistons out, because that one has the vibration pad still in there and I can't get it out. Okay, so working on these brakes, it does take a long time if you're doing it for the first time and you don't have, I don't know, particularly the right tools. So I've managed to get 2 of the bleed nipples out and the threads are pretty good. You know, I mean, you can see how the aluminium has been eaten away by the salt there, but that one's a lot better. So they've come out. I haven't done these two yet on this one, but what I have seen is quite a bit of pitting and corrosion on the aluminium. So it's really looking towards taking all of the seals out and refurbishing them, but that's quite a big job. But I just wanted to give you an idea of the efforts I'm going to over here. So why isn't that focusing? So this is one of the pistons, and this is the remnants of that resonating plate, or whatever you call it, which, you know, sticks onto the brake pad and then goes into the pistons. But they invariably corrode, because that's just mild steel without much of a coating at all. And basically what I've done is I've lightly heated up this with the blowtorch. It's a bit Heath Robinson, but I've found I think that's an M6. So heated it up with this obviously still totally stuck in there. Quickly screwed the long screw in, and then it's a bit funny, threaded it through this. I won't really go into it, but threaded through that and then put it in the clamp, and then yanked on the bottom of this with a mole grip. So it comes out. So I don't know if you can really follow that, but it works for me. And you can see the amount of gunk, this is still hot, that's in here. It's really quite nasty. So you've got to be really careful with these, because these are aluminium, I believe, with, I think, oh, I don't want to get it wrong, but I probably will, a tungsten, potentially a tungsten coating, so you can't scratch the outside of these at all, he says, knocking it off. But what I will do is probably rub down the front face here, and then, as I said, spray paint them with a heat-proof paint. But yeah, it's getting quite late now. It's completely dark outside, and I've been up here for hours and made, oh Jesus, very little progress. It's quite frustrating. But I'm going to go home now, because I am traveling again tomorrow, back over to Holland, and back for Wednesday. So yeah, I'll be back on it next weekend, most likely. See you then. Okay, hi guys, so I'm back up at the garage. Haven't been up for a couple of weeks really, but back onto the Porsche and the brakes. So, what I need to do with the front calipers is I need to measure up the pistons, because I need to get some new piston seals, because essentially with the front calipers, there's quite a lot of corrosion on there, and I want to clean them up, fill any holes, and repaint them. So, essentially, having measured them, the larger two of the pistons is 40 millimeters, and the smaller one is 36. So I'll get these seals ordered up, and also the dust boots, which this one is completely knackered. But yeah, there's a good one in there. The rear brakes are slightly different. They've got smaller pistons. I can't tell you what they are because I haven't taken them out to measure them. But essentially these ones aren't in that bad a condition. These aren't that bad either, but they really need doing. But these just need a bit of a cleanup, I think, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I'm just giving the rear calipers a bit of a cleanup. I'm using this Nigrin, it's called Kaltreiniger, which means cold cleaner. Yeah, so I don't know what that is in English, but it's a parts cleaner. Giving it a clean up with the toothbrush here, and then rinsing it off with water. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for today, but I've essentially spent quite a bit of time on just one caliper. It takes forever, so I'm preparing it by rubbing down all of the blemishes on the caliper, getting those nice and smooth, and also rubbing down the steel pins which hold the brake shoes, or brake pads I should say, and then having rubbed those down, I've treated those with rust converter. So yeah, once that's dry, I'll be able to touch that caliper up.